guys, it's me, Emil, and today we're going to talk about the Final Destination series. Pretty big jump from the Muppets, if I'm being honest. Now, I'm going to preface this and explain kind of what this series is to all the non-Final Destination fans / horror movie fans. Basically, all you need to know about the Final Destination series is that every single movie starts off with a protagonist having a premonition. What happens in these premonitions? They envision that in a terrible, horrible accident, them and everyone around them will horribly die. In the first one, it was a plane crash. In the second one, it was an interstate pileup. In the third one, it was a roller coaster accident, and so on and so on. And once they have this premonition, they freak out and then they say, oh my god, I need to get away from whatever situation I'm in. This leads to them avoiding the terrible, horrible situation that would lead to their death. And for the remaining runtime of the movie, basically the Grim Reaper is chasing after them, and it kills a lot of people in a bunch of crazy, messed up mousetrap kind of ways. I don't actually know how much, if any, footage I'm going to be able to show from the Final Destination movies, but I watched every single one of these movies this past weekend because the new movie, Final Destination Bloodlines, released in theaters quite recently. And as I was going through all of these movies, I recognized this pretty blatantly obvious pattern, and I thought it would make a great video for YouTube. So in this video, I'm not going to rank every single Final Destination movie by how good they are. If you want that list, it's 6, 3, 1, 2, 5, 4. And if you don't like that, I guess you can go ahead and cancel me. You go ahead and cancel me. I don't even freaking care. You can go ahead and freaking cancel me, bro. If you can go ahead and freaking cancel me if you don't care about my rankings of Final Destination movies. And also, what this video isn't is a ranking of every single death in Final Destination. I see a lot of those videos going out right now, and that's not what I'm doing here today. What I'm doing here today is seeing how easily I think I could avoid being in these scenarios. I'm gonna kind of do a survival chance ranking, kind of like those Instagram reels where they see the cars and they're like, okay, I'm in the driver's seat, I'm kind of doing great. Okay, I went to the back seat because I knew that was gonna happen. I'm sitting in the back seat, I'm fine, I was standing up, I'm in the car, and I'm actually hitting the nay-nay, whoop on Gangnam Style. That's what I'm doing. I'm not gonna go play-by-play on every single movie scene because that could get me just like a massive copyright claim, but I will give you a vague summary of what I think I would do. And I know what you might be thinking. Aren't these accidents you're supposed to be able to avoid most of them? That's how people get out of them in the first place, and death comes after them. Yeah, I'm not gonna be the one with the premonition. I'm just gonna be a guy in the background. So without a premonition, and without any further knowledge of like the Final Destination series, I'm gonna have to figure my way out of each of these scenarios. So I'm gonna rank each premonition from the Final Destination series based on whether I think that I could avoid them without having a pre-existing premonition about the, oh my god, the plane's gonna blow up. And I'm gonna be ranking these escape plans on how easily I could pull them off. First, I have the tier called Easily, because I could easily get out of this situation. Next, I have the Maybe tier, because maybe I could figure out some kind of plan. And then I have No Way, because I am absolutely 100% screwed if I'm in this scenario. So let's do it. Throughout the Final Destination series, there are 8 big premonitions that the main characters have. Of course, if you look at Final Destination 4, he has like a million premonitions throughout the course of that movie, but that's not what I'm talking about. The scenes that I'm gonna rank in this video are the ones that either happen at the beginning of the movie or they happen like really close to the end. So for the most part, I'm gonna be looking at the premonition that happens at the beginning of each Final Destination movie. However, there is a big premonition that happens at the end of Final Destination 3 and at the end of Final Destination 4. So the first premonition in the entire series is the explosion of Flight 180. So I'll have the knowledge of some random guy in front of me screaming, oh my god, this plane's gonna blow up. Would I believe the guy? Maybe. But I paid tickets to go to France, dude. I'm probably not gonna get off this plane. So with that being said, this explosion happens just in the middle of the air, and there's nowhere to go. I'm not getting out of this one. Unfortunately, we're not off to a great start, and I'm going to put the Flight 180 explosion in No Way. No way I'm getting out of this scenario. Next up, we have the premonition from Final Destination 2, which was the pileup on Route 23. But for this scenario, I'm going to use the reality that happens in Kimberly's vision. But quite frankly, if I'm in the reality or not the reality, I think I'm going to be able to see all of this stuff happening in front of me because I'm a very vigilant driver. And most likely, if I was in this scenario, I would either veer right or veer left, because I'm typically a right lane rider, by the way. I don't know where I would directly be in this like giant interstate pileup, but I think that I could probably, depending on like the landscape and stuff, I think I could probably pull over to the side and then be kind of out of harm's way. So I'm going to put this one in the maybe pile, okay? Because, you know, there's a lot of variables involved if I could actually do it. Okay, next up on the premonition ranking is the Devil's Flight roller coaster crash. And I know what you might be thinking. Emil, how are you going to get out of this one? The roller coaster completely crashes. I have a hot take on how I think that I just wouldn't end up in this situation. I'm not saying that a roller coaster derailment like situation wouldn't happen. I just think the way it happens specifically in this movie is kind of unrealistic. So for this bit, I will give you a little play-by-play action. So after this woman would have screamed, "Oh my God, this roller coaster is gonna like explode," or whatever, this little creepy guy, he's riding the roller coaster with his camera. And as they're doing the loop-de-loop, he just drops it. He drops the camera, and it miraculously just lands on the track. It wraps itself around the track, and the camera's just like on the track. I hate to tell you this, but this is the work of the devil. I have a very big doubt that the camera would even land like that in the first place. I feel the chances of that are like 1 in a million because of the wind pushing it a certain way or anything. And then on top of that, the way the camera wraps around this little rail, I'm almost positive that it would do that and then it would just fall. Although this is a cool scene, I don't think that this specific situation could happen in real life. Fact checkers say that this is false. But just by my dumb intuition, I think that I would survive the Devil's Flight thing easily and go on a fun little roller coaster experience. The next premonition is also from Final Destination 3 and is at the end of the movie. This one involves the derailment of train 081. I don't know how, I probably said that wrong. I probably phrased the name of the train wrong, and so you know what? Sue me. Also, I'm not from New York, so I don't really know anything about subways. And honestly, I think just given that, I'm probably cooked. So quite frankly, I think this one might be the end of the line for me, and no way I'm getting out of this. I don't have enough knowledge of subways, New York City, or anything to probably get out of this, and I might just freak out and die before it even crashes. The next premonition happens in Final Destination 4, aka The Final Destination. There's 2 movies after this. I don't know what they were doing. This one happens at McKinley Speedway, and it involves a race car going through the fence and hitting a bunch of people. Thing number 1 about this premonition: I would not be seen at a speedway, so I think this is falling more into the easy thing for me. Other thing about this premonition, I think that this one is kind of one based on luck. I never said that I would be seated very close to the protagonist of the movie, and even if I was, the crash begins by a tire flying into the crowd and hitting a character that's not me. So I would have time to be like, oh my God, this is a crazy thing happening, and have time to get up on my feet and run out. And similar to Route 23, this one has a lot of variables, so I can't specifically put this one in easy, but I will put this one in maybe. I think I can maybe get out of this one. The next premonition is also from Final Destination 4, and I think I'm gonna say I have to be in the movie theater for this one. This one is the Target Theater explosion, and if I'm in that movie theater, I think I'm absolutely screwed. Yeah, there's a lot of flammable stuff behind that movie theater screen, and it's all blowing up. I don't think I could get out of that movie theater quick enough. This would be very unfortunate for me if I was in this situation. No way, Jose. The next premonition is the North Bay Bridge collapse. And I hate to tell you this, but a lot of people survived in this one. Yeah, there was a lot of people that kind of fell when the bridge collapsed, but I could get out of this. I think I could get out of this. Also, who's to say that I would die whenever I hit the water? Let's do a little research first before we get yelled at in the comments. In summary, a fall of this height into the Hudson River would likely cause lethal injuries or death due to impact and potential drowning. Yeah, I might not survive this one. But we'll put it in the maybe, because maybe I can hop off the bus in time and then just not fall into the river. You know, there's always that. The final Destination premonition happens in Final Destination Bloodlines. I love you so low! This one is concerning for me because I am low-key kind of deathly afraid of heights. At least heights that look like I can die from. So as you can imagine, I probably would not be able to survive the Skyview Tower if it was collapsing. Luckily for me, the inciting incident of this movie is that Iris saves quite literally everyone from this tragic accident, and this accident actually never happened. Now, Emil, you might be wondering, if you said that you were going to count Kimberly's vision as the reality that I would be facing, wouldn't it only make sense to do Iris's vision of the tower collapsing? Okay, yeah, but the pileup still happens, even though Kimberly saves all the people that death eventually goes after. So even if I would go back and say, oh no, I'm gonna do the reality, I would have still been on the interstate pileup and I still would have pulled over, okay? In this situation, I'm gonna say Iris saves my life. And I think that's reasonable to say because the movie doesn't happen unless Iris saves all the people at the tower. This isn't a real thing that happened. And I will be ranking this situation in easy because I can easily get out of this situation unless I was getting a little too jiggy on the dance floor. And you know, they played a little bit of catchy music. Like,
you know you make me wanna kick my heels up and down the way, up and down the way.
What? God forbid a white boy catch a vibe. But okay, I think that'll do it for my rankings for how easily I could avoid every single premonition in Final Destination. I hope you enjoyed. I know this has nothing to do with the Muppets, and I just got a lot of people to follow me because of the Muppets. But I'm not going to just do Muppets. I'm going to do a lot of stuff that I like. And I like Final Destination, and I like horror movies. So this will be a kind of back and forth thing. It'll be more of a tug of war between the Muppets and just my other interests in the life. But I'm still going to do Muppet stuff. Don't worry about that. If you don't know what I'm talking about, click the video on screen probably right now. But I don't know. That's about it for this video. Like, subscribe, comment if you think that I am full of it. And there's no way I would be able to avoid any of these situations. But also, when you're writing that comment, please remember that this was just a fun little YouTube video. And I understand the whole point of Final Destination is that is your final destination and there's no way out. But yeah, that's about it for this video, and I'll see you guys next week.